Oh, hello everyone, it's Susie CryptoGranny here. Today is the 31st of October 2022, last day in October, just incredible. Time goes so quickly. It's the 31st of October 2022, and the time in the Netherlands, Europe, is 17:27 p.m. We just put our clocks forward, and it's getting a lot darker now in Europe, so that's interesting. So let's talk about the cryptocurrency market. Let's talk about the volume. Liquidity. Let's talk about specific coins and stories that I think are important. And then, we'll just look at some of the macro data, some of the important events that are coming this week. And then, obviously I'll just, give you my conclusions of what I think is important going forward this week as well. There is quite a bit of data out as well, microeconomic data, which... I'll have to also have a look at just to explain to you that could be a risk event as well, and just, what can happen with that macro events, like the Fed raising rates, for example, after their FOMC meeting on the 2nd of November. So people are expecting 75 basis points, but it may be less. You never know. Never know indeed. So let's just go through the market cap. For crypto at the moment is 1.037 trill, nearly 1.038 trill, I should say. Volumes at 48.56 bill, slightly up. Liquidities at 4.566 bill, slightly up. And Bitcoin dominance is coming down ever so slightly, 37.87%. Excuse me. Bitcoin currently at the moment is priced at 2481 US, Ethereum at 1575, Binance 325. XRP 0.45, Dodge 12.1296, ADA at 40, Solana at 33, Matic at 91, Tron at 0.06363. And let's just go on to some of the stories I'm going to talk about today. I'll be talking about Link, Twitter, Binance, Dodge, SHIB, XRP, SEC, FTX, BNY Mellon, Hubi Token, and Justin Sun from Tron, IoTex, and a few other stories which involve custody as well. And then we'll look at the microeconomic stats that have come out that are going to be important going forward as well. So 9 years after the first BTM ATM was launched worldwide, there's now something like 38,804 ATMs all over the world. And there's a lot obviously in the US and in Canada, but there are other ATMs around the world, and that's really expanded quite a lot. And we'll probably see ATMs in the next couple of years go up by at least over 100,000, where you can actually access cryptocurrency on an ATM machine. Apollo Global Management, which has 515 billion under management in terms of assets, is offering custody for cryptocurrency to institutions. And when we talk custody, it's really important to know who this Apollo is. Do they have a strong balance sheet? Who are they? Who owns them? Do they have a credit rating? Because institutions are always interested in credit ratings. If you hold your crypto with someone else in custody, you don't actually own it, you don't hold and control it. But also you want to make sure who the credit person is to have a great credit rating. There's no point putting your crypto with Apollo Global Management if their credit ratings, like a CCC or something like that, because you may not get your money back. So it's really important to look at the credit rating. Any other sort of ratings on the company itself, settlement ratings, currency ratings, any sort of type of rating, to see what the rating agencies think, even though the rating agencies always aren't right. We've seen that back in 2008, but it still gives us an idea of where it should be. Now let's talk about Twitter. And Musk has got 112 million followers on Twitter, so whatever he says, people look at that with bated breath. And we know that Binance also invested $500 million in the Twitter deal, the $44 billion deal, as well as Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Stanley, Queen Capital, and a lot of others, right? But Binance is really, and Changpeng Zhao has come out and said, they really want to help Twitter to go to Web3, to create a social media platform where you have free speech and all that sort of thing, and where you can pay and buy and sell cryptocurrency, which is huge, right? But what Musk wants to do is he wants to monetize Twitter, which I think is rightly so, because if he monetizes Twitter, he gets rid of all those stupid bots, right, on Twitter, all the spam and all the horrible people out there that just want to troll people, right? And I think he should monetize Twitter. It's a smart thing to do. And to also, with this monetization of a subscription, he'll be able to verify who are real humans and who are not, okay? And I think that's right. When you look at Twitter, 80% is saying no to monetization, but I think it's an important platform and I think people should pay for it. And it gets rid of all the horrible trolls that people have to deal with, even myself, which is horrible, spam, and any of those bots would just come in with people, you know, bot is someone like a profile that'll come in on a bot, for example. So he's planning, as I said, to charge $19.99 a month for the verification, the new Twitter Blue verification. He wants paid verification so that he can actually monetize, because don't forget, with the Twitter deal, he would have had to incur literally, you know, $44 billion of debt, right? Twitter itself's got a lot of money. They probably sit on, roughly from what I saw, about $63 billion in cash. But I think on the balance sheet after this deal, they've probably got about $13 billion in debt on the balance sheet, or a bit more clearly. So they need to get some money in, that's a fact, right? And I think this is the right story. Some people might be against it, but I'm certainly for it. So he's saying it's going to take, you know, if you're on Twitter, which I am, it'll take you 90 days to become, you've got up to 90 days to become a subscriber or lose your blue check. And he's given the Twitter team a deadline of the 7th of November to launch the feature or be fired, which is pretty harsh, I have to say. But, you know, again, you know, he's got to monetize it and he wants to get it done as quick as he possibly can, okay? And I think that's fair enough, right? He's already laid off the Twitter, you know, the bosses and all this sort of thing. He wants to accept Dodge. Tesla also accepts Dodge. You know, look, Dodge went up to 15 cents on the weekend, did huge volume. It's currently down at 0.12675, but it looks to me it could probably go higher, Dodge, even though I've never really liked Dodge. But the fact that Mr. Musk is behind Dodge and he has 112 million people and whatever he says just pushes it up. You know, I think, you know, you've got to consider Dodge, you know, just a trade. So I must admit, on the weekend on Discord, if you're watching my Discord, I told clients just for a trade I was buying Dodge and SHIB, which is the other memo coin that's going to the races with Dodge as well. So some people are, you know, finding they can't buy Dodge because it's been stopped by the exchange. KuCoin stopped it on the weekend. And so I bought SHIB as an alternative, which was going up with Dodge. So that was my line of thinking. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, but I do think they will force the subscription issue. There'll be different levels of subscription. And Mr. Musk has ambitions of turning Twitter into a super app, right? Something like WeChat platform in China, WeChat, the WeChat platform in China, which is a social app, and it includes things like messaging, games, payments, video streamings, buying and selling NFTs. Now, we know Twitter can buy and sell NFTs, but if he monetizes this, there's going to be a lot of money in this. Also, we know that Twitter doesn't have the active users that YouTube has, or Messenger, Facebook, or whatever it might be. So I think there's a lot of growth in this Twitter platform if Elon Musk does it properly. And he's doing it with Binance, the biggest exchange in the world, who's going to get a lot of profitability from their connection with Twitter. Absolutely. Everyone that's on Twitter, you know, Binance, you know, probably will be the exchange where you can buy and sell your cryptocurrency through Twitter, which is a great story for both of them, actually. A really, really good story. And I think, you know, just watch that space. It's going to be very, very interesting. And we know that Elon Musk prefers on Twitter Bitcoin as a payment method, Dodge he's mentioned, and also XRP. So it's going to be very big for XRP too. So keep a mind out for that. Now, XRP news, crypto lobbying organisation Blockchain Association has filed a permission to support Ripple as a friend of the court in this ongoing court case against Ripple with the SEC. So in other words, very simply, Blockchain Association have filed an amicus curiae, which is a friend of Ripple's in non-legal speak, and they basically said the SEC is totally wrong. It's harmful to the US crypto companies and the cryptocurrency market all up, and it's been very harmful for the investors. And it just, you know, this the head from the Blockchain Association said the SEC hasn't got a clue, and they've had a terrible effect on crypto industries as well as individuals, obviously, that have bought XRP, for example. Also, Ripple put in the Wall Street Journal a big ad, crypto means business. And it just shows you how much money Ripple have got, because a crypto ad in Wall Street Journal would cost you probably millions, I'd imagine. Ripple is also working on their NFT support with the XRP ledger. And according to S. Spectre on XRPL, validated the SLS20 proposal that will enable native NFT support on XRPL might be ready to go live very soon. So keep an eye out for that as well. That's pretty important in terms of XRP as well. Now, BNY Mellon did a survey the other day. They're the biggest American bank. They're the oldest American bank, and they do support crypto and custody. Said that tokenization within asset management is going to change dramatically, right? And tokenization is no different to say you want to buy, a Picasso that's worth millions and millions, and so people can they can do an NFT on that, and they can cut it into pieces, and you own a piece of the Picasso with an NFT, right? So they might sell, more than $1 million, and you might get access to a bit of Picasso for God knows $20 or something like that, or whatever, right? So they're right about this. Tokenization, I believe, will be huge. They surveyed 271 institutions in terms of digital assets and cryptocurrency holding and custody, and 99% were comfortable with digital cash and tokenization and custody, which is a great story. Now, FTX, the exchange, is encouraging their staff to relocate to Miami, because Miami is very pro-cryptocurrency, and they've moved away from Chicago. Now, clearly in Miami, they've got the big FTX arena in Miami. Sam Bankman-Fried also owns Twitter. He's thinking about selling some of the shares he's got. I think he's got $50 million worth or whatever. And I think he's a bit disappointed because he did approach Musk before Bernstein, clearly, over this Twitter deal. But, and he obviously wanted to do a lot in terms of the exchange and the cryptocurrency regulation and everything, but Musk didn't return his calls. So CZ, Pang got all the business from Twitter and Mr. Musk, which is huge for them. Absolutely. That's why I believe Binance should be over $1,500 US per unit. Sorry, I'm still a bit hazy because I've had this bad cold, guys, for about 2 weeks, and I still can't shake it off. Masterblocks adds Chainlink Labs for a Web3 accelerating program. And they also partnership with Binance recently as well. So they've established this partnership to establish growth of Web3, which is huge. Also, Masterblocks said they believe that Chainlink was up there in terms of incredible Web3 features in their ecosystem. They already had 1,500 Web3 projects in terms of decentralization, network, Oracle, immutable, trustless, decentralized technology. And a former CEO, Google CEO, Sergey Nazarov, who's very well known, said that Chainlink has the best Web3 solution. The growing network is amazing. It is based on the principles of Web3. And what we've seen in the past, week or so, the whales have been accumulating Chainlink massively. Chainlink is cheap. There are so many cheap coins out there. It's not funny. Chainlink, Polkadot, my God, Chiles, for example, VeChain, for example, IOTX, which I'll mention today. I mean, it's just incredible. Tron, which I'll mention as well. And leading into Tron, Justin Sun, who's the advisory for Huobi Token Global, he's an advisor to them. Apparently, there is a rumour that he will be taking over Huobi Exchange or Huobi Global. Now, we know that a very large fund manager bought the stake of the founder, and this was called About Capital Management, out of Hong Kong, and the fellow's name was Leon Lee. Now, something important about this is out of Hong Kong, right? And I read today that a story that the Hong Kong may be considering opening up crypto retail trading, right? So these big fund managers don't buy a stake in the exchange without knowing something. And even Justin Sun has mentioned this, that Hong Kong could be opening up to retail trading. and crypto. And this is where the Chinese government is allowing Hong Kong to do it, but not China. But it's still a good thing. Now, Justin Sun, it looks like he may be taking over the helm of Huobi exchange. He wants to make it a huge global exchange all over the world. Wants to be a global competitor to Binance, clearly. He's one of his mentors is Changpeng Zhao. So clearly, Justin Sun, who's younger, wants to be as good as Changpeng Zhao from Binance, right? So the top executives have gone, and apparently Justin Sun's at the top there. He owns tens of millions of Huobi token, according to him, and he believes that this is a huge opportunity because if Hong Kong lift a ban on crypto, they're going to be in a very, very good place indeed. Huobi token, which we do own some of Huobi token, and I think this is a real story to watch. Also, he's talking about Huobi token, the ecosystem, to potentially integrate with Tron's blockchain ecosystem, so they're both integrated together, where they can also use Tron's coin and also BitTorrent. Okay, BitTorrent's coin as well. So there's a long story about that as well, which I might have to do some more work on this and tell you about that, because there's a lot of history about BitTorrent, Justin Sun, Huobi, and even Binance. Okay, there's a lot going on there, so please keep an eye on that. Certainly, it's all the Chinese that are coming in with a lot of money, and it's fair enough. I regard Justin Sun as a very, very clever young man, an absolute clever, I think he's a genius and a very clever young man, and is always there where the opportunity is. So, and I do regard Tron as a blue chip cryptocurrency. In the past, we've bought BitTorrent. I'll have to have a look at that again. We have bought Huobi token, and I'll certainly be keeping an eye on that story, because that could yield incredible opportunity as far as I'm concerned. Now, another coin I do pay a lot of attention to, and no one out in Media Land or anyone has mentioned it, but there's only a couple of articles about it, but I love this coin. It has its own blockchain. The ICO was done at 1 cent. It's Roll D Proof of Stake. It's IoTex, who's incredible. IoTex is probably only about 3 cents at the moment, but they have integrated, and they have partners that are worldwide, the biggest worldwide wireless network partners in the world. One is called Neston and one is called Giant Protocol. These are two major decentralized worldwide wireless network projects that have gone to IoTex, right? Neston is using IoTex layer 1 blockchain, okay? And Giant Protocol is integrating with IoTex as well. I mean, this crypto has to be worth more than 3 cents, fair income. Honestly, it's just a joke where it is at the moment, right? So these guys are going to leverage off IoTex blockchain. IoTex is actually chain agnostic. It's a chain agnostic blockchain. They call themselves the Internet of Things, but they do so much more than that. They're quite genius. And I love IoTex. They even did something for the US government for space or something, right? So they're going to leverage off their blockchain, IoTex, which is chain data agnostic. It's got an incredible infrastructure, Web3B stream, to ensure successful expansion of their decentralized network, right? Now, Web3B stream basically migrates away from a centralized internet service of AWS, like Amazon, right? Cloud-based service, which everyone has to pay a lot of money for, and it's not cheap. And also Amazon keep your data, which is Web 2, and you don't want that. Web 3 enables you to have your own data and to be the controller of your own data, whereas Amazon WS is basically centralized cloud service, which is not great, okay? They want to be able to, enable billions of mobile users, and this is Giant Protocol, to be able to use a decentralized internet connection where it's easy to earn and to buy and sell cryptocurrency online. This is huge, right? For IoTex, this is absolutely huge. And this coin should be much more than 3 cents, okay? I've certainly bought it. I certainly believe in the story and the technology. It's quite amazing, okay? They want to challenge competitors like Helium of Web3, and they certainly want to challenge Amazon wireless service. Okay, this is one they want to be an absolutely decentralized wireless network, so that we can all own our own data, and our data of ourselves is returned to us, and we don't get advertising from Web2 services and cookies and all this stuff, and we're on a centralized internet Wi-Fi wireless exchange, I say via AWS. So that is a really big story, guys and girls. I've got to tell you that. Huge story, right? Now, just go to some of the macro events. We've got 30-year mortgage rate at 7.08%, still extremely high. We've seen the US housing market come down. 10-year bond yield in the US is 4.04. Still very, very high, I have to say. Honestly, I think it's too high given the underlying macroeconomics in the US and globally, things are not very good. Eurozone's inflation was 10.7%. We are seeing the equity market get longer. They're buying more calls than puts. So that ratio has actually turned around. The equity market looks fairly bullish to me, and I do believe that it can get to 34,000 very quickly. And I really believe the crypto market is going to rally big time, okay? Absolutely big time. There's no doubt about it. Now, this week we've got some macroeconomic events. Certainly, I've mentioned the FOMC at 2 p.m. ET time on Wednesday. We've got the ADM employment report, which is again on Wednesday at 8:15 a.m. And this Friday, we've got the US non-farm payroll, which is a big, big figure. Any weaknesses in those two figures, interest rates are going to go down quite a bit, okay? The expectation is the FMC on 2 p.m. Wednesday ET time to raise rates by another 75 basis points, okay? Which, again, makes the cash rate around 4%, okay? It's too high as far as I'm concerned, and honestly, I just think they're going to kill the US economy, and I do believe, they just don't want to keep doing that because the economic data looks very weak, the real underlying economic data in the US, okay? Also, we've got the US have got midterms, right, on the November the 8th, so that could be very interesting as well. Keep an eye out for that. Certainly going to make, move markets, certainly currencies and everything else with the rate rise. And, we just have to keep an eye on that. And Russia just recently on the weekend stopped Ukraine grain exports. The grain was up quite a bit. But look, either way, I do think, things are worse macro-wise, and I just don't think the central bank should be rate rising as aggressively as they are. And ultimately, I am very, very bullish, specific cryptocurrency, not all of it, because there's 21,000 cryptocurrencies and tokens, and 99% of them are going to be bust within a year or two. But specific coins that I mentioned in my podcast, I'm ultra, ultra bullish because I've looked at the fundamentals, the technology. I've done the homework for years and years, at least 10 years. And I believe there is great opportunity there. Anyway, guys and girls, please be happy. I hope you're all well. Don't get this cold flu. I've had it for about 2 weeks and I'm still feeling pretty crap by it. But anyway, we will see what the future brings. But it's a very, very exciting market at the moment. And I can't wait to get up and watch it. Anyway, guys and girls, thank you very much for listening to me. My throat's just about to go. Thank you.